Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Community Live Stream. This is the show that helps you be a more effective ServiceNow administrator and developer by giving you not only the answers in the community, but the thought process, the journey of discovery, the exploration that goes on behind those answers so that you can apply those to your daily job. And as I said, be a more effective ServiceNow administrator and developer. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie coming to you on the community live stream. Let's get into it today, shall we? I am going to try something new here, so let's find out what happens. We do this show every day that I am healthy, home, and awake. Let's just put it to you that way. Didn't have a show yesterday because it was too much. Not enough sleep Sunday night. We do a podcast on Sunday nights, and it got a little late, and I couldn't get myself out of bed. That's the only excuse I've got. I said, you know what? Another hour or two of sleep is really going to help with the health and recovery. You can see I've got my full, somewhat balanced smile back. The oral work from a couple of weeks ago, if you watched I think it was the 12th or 13th, this side was all puffed up. Things are returning to normal. The chaos is back in full swing at work. I've got my herbal tea. Let's get started. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, the URL that you see right there, and turn on your notifications, and you will get, let's see if this works, something that looks like that. Look at that. Twitch and YouTube are both telling me that is a live capture. Figured I'd do that instead of holding up my messy screen with reflection to the camera that's blurry. Try something new. We'll do the remote screen capture. Turn it on, you get the alerts, and that way you can see what my background of the day. Sometimes that thing changes multiple times of the day. Somebody asked me, how do you do that? That's an IFTTT applet that my daughter sent. There is a Reddit subreddit called Earth Porn that they put pictures, beautiful pictures of the Earth on there. And you can set up an IFTTT recipe on your phone. This works for Android. I don't know if it does for iOS. Worth a check if somebody wants to check that out and let me know. There's your fun tip of the day. So anyway, back to YouTube. If you see something in the next hour or so that you like, find helpful, don't forget to click like on that. Again, subscribe to it. If you're watching this through the community later, click the helpful button so that other people know there's helpful information here. Good morning to Rick. And let's see if I can get some of these names in here. Chathanya, Chad, John, Carol, McSalg, they're all in there. Thank you very much for joining. We've got people rushing in, getting their alerts, joining us as I go through the pre-roll. We also do this on Twitch. It's available there for a couple of weeks if you want to watch there. I know some of you do. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I've got a big old ad sitting on my Twitch screen right now. So let me get rid of that so I can see what is going on. Pardon the background maintenance that's going on here. All right, we do that on Twitch. Stick around. It's available on both. We simulcast this live and then post this video back to the community, publish it on LinkedIn, try my best to get the word out and let you know there is content here. This is completely unscripted. I go through the community in a random ad hoc manner. Sometimes there's follow-up from previous discussions. I will try to give you the background on those. Sometimes there is all new content. Sometimes I'll bring in lessons I've learned from a project that I'm working on. You never know what this hour is going to bring you, but hopefully you'll find something helpful and useful in there. On to that. If you've got more than just a hello, McSalk says, yes, it's webinar day. We'll get to that in just a minute. If you've got something more than hello, the weather, how are you? Wave to me in the chat room. That's a good question. Let me know if I typed something wrong or I'm on the wrong track. But if you've got a question of your own or a problem, please post that out to the community at community.servicenow.com that you see there. And that is where you will get subject matter experts. Post that in the right area so that the right people see that at the right time. And it will also be there forever, like most things on the internet. I've got things that date back to when I was an early customer, and I look back at them and go, wow, I could answer my own question finally. I don't know if that makes any sense or if there's any value in that, but trust me, I still have lots of questions. Lots and lots of ServiceNow questions. And if you've got questions, post them there and somebody will be eager to help. Just make sure you post it in the right forum. So if you're asking questions about ITOM, discovery, event management, that sort of thing, put that in the proper space so that the ITOM people see that. If you've got questions about reporting and analytics, there's a place for that where those people live. If I skip over some of the questions in the list today, it's not because I don't like you. It's because that's really not where my expertise lives. I may subscribe to that so that I can learn about that particular aspect, but most of what you see today will revolve around developer concepts. I specialize in custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. In fact, I was just talking integrations yesterday with somebody who's building out one of the builder workshops for CreatorCon. We will get to that in just a moment. After the community, of course, comes the developer portal. Go to developer.servicenow.com. Get yourself a free personal developer instance. Did I say it's free? Free running London, Kingston, or Madrid. JK, Kingston, London, and Madrid. Yes, in that order. You can get that totally free. Turn on plugins that normally cost money so you can try them out and do a proof of concept for your organization. Free learning plans, APIs, blog articles. Look at this. Under the blog articles on the top of the portal, Dave and Andrew are posting lots of great stuff. Server-side flow APIs. I think I mentioned that. I'm going to be mentioning that in the webinar in just a little bit. Client-side flow APIs. We've also added comments. Comments are now available in the portal. So when you log in, I am going to log in. I don't know why I didn't do that yet, but that's how I do that. You will have the ability to add comments to the article. Seems like an obvious thing. This is something they implemented on, or started implementing on Live Coding Happy Hour. So this blog application is actually a service portal app on our platform. The developer site is run on ServiceNow. Very cool. The community is run on ServiceNow. So we have lots of now on now stories, as we call them. So you can, I don't know, I thought comments was kind of a cool thing since it didn't exist before. There's also meetups. So if you go back to that main page, there is events all over the place. We've got, I should see this at the top of the list. We've got today's webinar, Tech Now webinar, that starts in about 2 hours. Yes? No. 3 hours. I forget the time change. You guys got to stop changing your clocks. I don't do that in Arizona. So it's 8 a.m. Pacific time. I'll get that slide in just a little bit. And it is currently about just after 5 a.m. Pacific time. I'm not on Pacific time. That's why I don't have to worry about it. So you figure it out where you are. This show is done every day at 1 p.m. UTC. UTC doesn't change, and I don't change, so I don't have to think about anything else. That's the Einstein method, right? He had all the same clothes in his closet, so when he went to get dressed, he didn't have to waste any CPU cycles, brain cells on what to wear that day, so he could think about other things. I don't subscribe to that. See, I wear a different shirt and tie every day. So clearly, I'm thinking about something else. We are all over the place. Good mornings from SATX to Omar. Hello, Chuck from Amin. Yes, good to hear from you. I wonder why the new mobile application doesn't work on my instance. New mobile application is called ServiceNow Agent. You can get that from, of course, the iOS and Android store. Must have Madrid. That's the catch. Got to have Madrid, and you probably want to add some applets to that. So if you go into the plugin section, you'll see an ITSM mobile applet. I think that's there by default on all new instances. I could show that to you if you like. As soon as I get done with the pre-roll. We did the community. We did other events available. Of course, the meetups are available over at meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow Dev Program. Find out if there's a chapter in your area. If there isn't, reach out to us and let us know you'd like to start one. We'd love to see you. Love to help give you that chapter kickoff. We are approaching 15,000 members in this community. We'd love to grow that to 100,000. Help us to do that. Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, tell your other developer friends, even if they're not on ServiceNow. This is a great way to get together and meet like-minded people and find out exactly what this platform does and how quickly and easily it does it. I am constantly amazed that I can go to the gym, think about a concept, pencil it down, write it out, and it takes an hour, maybe two, to get the protocols and the payloads and all this stuff in my head, and then I just come back and build it. It's really, really fast. Even when there's scripting involved, it's really fast. And I would not want to do that in any other platform or any other language. I might be a little biased, of course. meetups, then Knowledge. Okay, don't forget, Knowledge is coming up May 5th through 9th in Las Vegas, California at the Venetian Palazzo. We'll be in the Sands Convention Center, which is attached to the back, so you don't need to go outside. If you can't find a room at one of those hotels, you can get a nearby one, and it is a very quick walk or Uber ride to the convention center. I encourage you to be there. There's going to be lots and lots of new content because we've come out with 2 releases since the last Knowledge. We had London and Madrid. We've got hands-on labs. We've got customer-led sessions. We've got, keynotes and parties and networking, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful time. The 5th and 6th are pre-con training, so if you want to get your next advanced level of training from our training professionals, whether they are ServiceNow or partner-led sessions, you can get that in that focus session. Get that interactive, live, person-to-person chat. Make new connections of your own. 5th and 6th is when you want to do that. Then 7th, 8th, 9th. I believe the night of the 6th is when we have our kickoff party. 7, 8, 9 are the days of the conference. So I look forward to seeing you there in Las Vegas, California in how many days? You want to see this? Oh boy, it is coming up fast. Let me bring that up. Flip back over to this. 67 days, 17 hours. You get the idea. It's coming up quick, and I still have a lot of work to do, and I have a lot of work to do before I get to that lot of work. I call this the snowplow method, when you're plowing snow in front of you and it just keeps piling up. That's what I feel like is happening right now. We're getting closer and closer to Knowledge, and that pile of snow in front of the plow isn't going down. It's just getting harder to push. So could go into a long litany of lists of things I've got to work on to do that, but that's not what we're here for. We are here to talk about the community. Before I get into that, there is one more. Let me put that away and that away. See if I can find that. Where was my workshop slide? Workshop slide, yes. Our webinar, not workshop, webinar. Webinar is coming up this morning in a few hours, as I mentioned, where we're going to be talking all about the Madrid features. We talked about upgrading to Madrid just a minute ago. Well, this is where you're going to find out what you get when you upgrade to Madrid. Register at the link. It's still not too late. You can go to bit.ly/TN61Reg. This is the 61st in our episode of Doing Tech Now. You can find all the other ones over at that site. Not from the registration, but I will show you a link if you want how to get there. So I am going to be the primary presenter on this one. I've been spending the last 2 months to bring you this webinar, getting the content together, getting it organized, telling the story, getting getting you interested. It goes beyond. There is an official Madrid launch coming up on the 6th, 7th, 13th, somewhere in there, in another week or two. They will be going over high level a couple of these things. I am going to get down in the weeds because developers have had their hands on these developer instances for about a month. It's time to let you know what else is coming out. You may have seen this information from the developer community blog, from people like Goran Lundquist, who have put out videos on the Madrid mobile. This is going to get deeper into that. So look forward to seeing you there at the webinar there. Any scripts we write today will be available on the GitHub repo that you see at bit.ly/2a6tkjz. Terrible link, I know, but you'll get used to it. It will, if there is a folder, or actually that link, or a specific dated folder link to the folder that says 2019-02-26. This is the 26th of February. I forgot to mention that at the top of the show. It will be in a folder for that. So if you see me writing some code on there, odds are it's going to be in that GitHub folder that you can go and copy and test and tweak and break it, take it, make it your own, and have a lot of fun and learn that way. I was doing that with somebody else's scripts, not ServiceNow, but a different platform yesterday. I try it and great learning experience. That's how we all learn, right? Take it, break it, twist it, make it your own. I was trying to get, on an Arduino, I was trying to get an array of objects out of a JSON object. That was not fun. So, makes me appreciate ServiceNow even more. Let us begin with the right screen over here, community@community.servicenow.com. And I did say Madrid earlier, right? Here is my personal developer instance. You can get that at developer.servicenow.com and log in, get your Madrid. If you don't have it on Madrid, you can upgrade to Madrid, and then you can always use the mobile applet. You know what? Now that I've got that up there, I'm thinking we could incorporate that into more show content. So the mobile applet would look like this. Let's get rid of that. My wife's birthday. Sorry about that. The under ServiceNow, I should probably have this. Oop, it's not even in there. It's under here. It's called ServiceNow Agent right up there. I will not delete that. I will open that. And you get a screen that looks like this. I can now incorporate mobile into my demos. How about that? If you have not already done so, and if you're doing development, this will become a second nature habit, but pull down on the screen to refresh this so that you get the latest version of applet pulled down. For example, here is incidents, and this comes along with the ITSM stuff, so that when you go into Studio, I of course have a lot of projects in Studio that I'm working on, and hopefully you can all see that. File, switch. There is one called, where is it? ITSM. ITSM Mobile. Lots and lots of great examples in here for the applications, the data items, functions, action items. You'll learn all about this. Working on two things right now. Stacy is working on next month's presentation about Mobile Studio and the mobile applet. And I am working on a video series with the product managers for this. So we are scripting that out right now. We'll get that to you as it comes. I know enough to be dangerous at this point. Let's go back to the community. Thought I'd answer that one out there. Let's see. How to minimize the chat option. Not sure what you're referring to in that one. Abjit, might be a better question for the community. If you can provide some details, some context, what the requirement is. Screenshots are always helpful in that situation as well. So post that to the community. You'll get a lot more people on it than just me. So I don't discourage questions in the chat, but I discourage questions that are going to benefit others if they're posted in the community. So think about the context. You will get more eyeballs on it than just me, which is always helpful. And that question will be available for others to reference much easier with a search. I'm going to go down here to all the unreplied questions and hide survey link from survey emails logged in activity logs. Workflow issue on stage. Once the content goes into an email on the activity history, a screenshot would have been nicer. When an incident is closed, survey email is sent to the same logged activity. I have a requirement to hide the survey link from the survey emails logged so that other users, other than the caller, can't really manipulate the content in the activity history. When we click on Show Email Details, it shows the entire body of the message, including the survey link. This content is inside an iframe document under the main parent document. Document get element by ID is not supported in recent versions as per my knowledge, hence not being able. Yeah, this is manipulating the content of the activity history is not supported at this time. I'm going to suggest they put in an enhancement request, and hate to say it doesn't happen, but that is a severe customization and I wouldn't want to do it. Okay, anytime someone asks you something, understand what the technical implementation is. If you don't know, reach out to the community. It's a great place to say, what is the level of effort that you would consider doing this? Is it technically possible? Don't forget to provide some context. What is the business requirement behind what you're doing? Because if you don't know, then you may be getting yourself into trouble further down the road. Just good questions. Workflow issue with stage. I don't do stages too much. I know some people do. I have an issue with the workflow from service catalog order item. I need to attach a workflow to an item item order in which I am able to populate variables value in SC task created. For that, I have created a workflow. Wow, this is getting to be a long description. Created a workflow from the catalog item. Workflow lookup. The problem I have is that when I order my item, the workflow is waiting for approval by default by setting the state field to request of the requested item. I do not need any approval in that case. What is the way to bypass this waiting for approval in order that my task gets created? I have to try to create a workflow directly from the workflow editor, but when I want to attach it from catalog, my workflow does not appear in the list, even if published, because it needs to be attached to the request item. Now you attach it, you define it in the catalog. Any idea how to solve the issue with my default state? But the weird thing also seems to be the workflow didn't even start because no context is created. Okay, screenshots would be helpful here. Be helpful here. Ensure your workflow. The first thing to figure out is why your workflow doesn't appear in the catalog, in the workflow field, as a referenceable object. How do you spell referenceable? Is that even a word? Close enough. I'll hyphenate it. Record. I'm going to also include a screenshot. So when you go into maintain items, that's where the catalog items are. And I'm going to pick one out of random. As soon as the screen finishes drawing, while it's waiting, I take a sip of that fine herbal tea. And to make it editable, I will go to the Community Live Stream application, which is where this is. No, I apologize. This is in Global. Interesting. I called it CLS Demo Flow. Underneath, I think it's under Process Engine now. I have Flow and I have Workflow. So those are available. This is a Madrid screenshot. I will also put that in there. Here's a Madrid screenshot for reference. Ta-da! Post that. I don't think I rang the coin on the last one. Let's get started. More to go. Anyone know if VTB support group access, or is it still on an individual level? Managing person by person is a pain. So, VTB, I don't know. Let's go find out. Any task board? Let's take incident and pull up an incident list of open. Oh, I really personalize this list to death. Oh, that's the, I don't want self-service view. I want default view. Let's go show visual task board by priority. And visual task boards are a Kanban style way of displaying information. Very easy. You can drag things from one lane to the next. You can configure the lanes. Let's find out. Users, add members. Service desk. Looks like you can put groups in here. Unless that is an account. Network. Nope. That is an account. It is not a group. So it looks like it is still person by person in Madrid. Oh, that's unfortunate. Enhancement request. If that's what you need, let us know. No promises, but it will get looked at. Next, do a quick refresh of this list so it doesn't get stale on me and I look at things that are already replied. I like to start out with the new things that are unreplied. Enforce to reprocess email as new. Let's find out what's going on. Is there a way to reprocess specific emails in the sysemail table, but to enforce to be reprocessed as new? I have a bigger issue with ServiceNow recognizing email as a reply to call, but not able to update target record and dropping emails. Before I resolve the bigger issue, I need to have a quick solution for emails which were already missed by the system. I would like to reprocess them, but the problem is they're all classified as reply. Is it possible to enforce this in some cases for new? I am going to find out. Let's go to email, and under system mailboxes, excuse me, system notification, system policy, system. Where is the inbox? Not seeing it. It's probably under system mailboxes. So if I went to received, which I don't have any today, let's expand this search a little bit more. I don't have any at all. I don't send email to this thing very often. Let's go to a different one. Different instance, see if I have sent any data that would represent something good. This is a Kingston instance, or excuse me, London. Mailbox. Received. Get rid of today. There's one. It's in a state of ready. So you would change it to, instead of process, I would set it to ready and set this to new. Why wouldn't that work for you? Move it to the inbox. Oh, try that again. Inbox. Ready new. I would try that. Go to the inbox, received, open that, change it to receive type, click response. Just now responded. So while I was looking, someone else is responding. Change the mailbox field to inbox. Change the, use my screen shot as a reference. State to ready, receive type new. State to ready. Change the receive type to new. There we are. In fact, I'm going to bold those just to make it more look like a lab guide. And see what happens. I don't think simply changing the mailbox will do it, because if it's already been processed, it's going to say inbox processed. What does that mean? Steve says, good morning, Chuck. Love the bow tie today. This one is from Andrew Harrison over in Japan for helping him out with an enhancement to the Loaner Request app. He sent this to me as a very nice gift. Thank you, Andrew, for the bow tie. It's a stiffer version than what I usually wear. I like it. Thought it would go well with the dark blue shirt today. And I had to put the red on the left. There's like this little chain thing underneath. I put the red on the left because my nautical history is coming in. Green light, red light. Although that's not green, that's technically blue. Show report on HTML website wildcard search. Well, whenever I love this one, starts out with well. Look, if you're making a short description, don't put your whole message into the topic field. What's it called when you post something new? The title. Well, whenever I'm searching my asset, CMDB, CI, that's an ITOM thing. I'm probably not going to be able to help with that one. Dotwalking in an interactive filter. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Let's see what happens. I have reports on the resource plan table, and I would need an interactive filter to filter them based on system group. The problem is there is no direct reference from the resource plan table to the system group table. With Dotwalking, you could filter from it like it was task.refpm project use system group. Is there any way to do that in interactive filters? Basically, what I want is just to click a system group from the drop-down menu. Probably going to need to make some sort of custom filter. I haven't done too many things with interactive filters. Let me find my docs page and go to Madrid. Interactive filter. Custom interactive filters. Say, that might help. As an administrator, you can create scripted interactive filter widgets to provide advanced filtering options. That sounds more like it. I recommend starting here. Am I actually answering a reporting? No, that's in developer community. We do offer custom interactive filters using script. I recommends starting here. Paste. Post. Bell. Coin. Not bell. It's one of those mornings. Okay, we talked about that. There's my inbox. Is this also, no, that's mine. All right, translating service catalog variables as well as field messages to French language. Field messages. I have one requirement to translate the language in French. I am able to do it with all variables, but I can't change the field message for my record producer. Thank you for contacting the service desk. Where are they saying this? How are they saying that? That is in the description. And the description should be a translatable field. Let's find out. So if we go to record producer, here's how you find out if something translates or not. I haven't done translations in a while. Record producers. Let's go to where? I'll pick one. Service category request. Take whatever's at the top. I clicked it, right? I did click it. Wait for it to finish drawing. Still waiting, still waiting. Description. Right-click on the field label and say Show Description. And it should say Translated HTML. That means it is translatable. Ta-da! And that means if you... It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to work. Can anyone please let me know how to change the message in French? When I took a look at the description field on the record producer by right-clicking the description field label, then selecting Show Description, it came up with this, telling me that it is translatable. Okay. To make your translation, now I have to look. Translated HTML. Where is that? Long text content occurs in the translated text or translated with the type of translated about this task. You need to go to the use the language picker to switch the desired language, navigate to the field on the form, replace the English text with the text of the target language. Well, that's easier than what I was thinking. I was thinking about going to the direct table. This should help. So in theory, I don't know if I have other languages on my instance right now. Did I activate any languages? No, they'd be right here. So it's not under theme, it's not under list, it's not under forms, not under notification, definitely not under developer. Because developer's only on if you have developer access. Go with that. Did I post after I pasted? Yes, I did. Okay, good. Good. We're moving along. We're getting all kinds of topics today. It doesn't have to be pretty if it works. Well, it has to be pretty if you plan on distributing it, in my opinion. I've got a Jeopardy game I showed you last week or week before that I'm building out for the, it must have been last week because that was a 3-day weekend that I worked on it. I will be distributing that, and I want to make sure that I am employing good practices and everything's documented. So a little data model change I've got to make based on some feedback. But nothing serious. I just have to find time to get to it. Won't take long. It's a quick weekend project. Again, you can plan for a long time, and then the implementation is really, really quick. Let's check the inbox real quick, refresh that, see if there's any discussions that are happening I didn't notice. Workflow issue with stage, DVP has replied. Is the workflow created on SEREC item table? You can't create a workflow on the SEREC item table. That's the interesting part because, well, you don't want it to run on the SEREC item. You want to attach it to the catalog item and then it gets attached. So when you go to the workflow editor, one thing you will notice is when you create a new workflow, that table doesn't show up. I believe it's request and request item. because you don't attach it to a table like you normally would for a change request, for example. You attach the workflow to a specific item, not to the table. So I will go and create a new workflow. And notice, it's going to make me a liar. I know it is. I know it is. Requested item, if you spell it right. Ooh, it does show up. Am I mistaken? Did that change? Interesting, because that did not used to happen. I am going to give this a simple title. Scroll back up here. Sample RATM workflow. Submit that. And yes, you can publish a workflow that has nothing in it. Publish that. So we can reproduce this. I told you it'd make me a liar. And underneath, maintain items. Let's go and attach my stupid sample workflow to, say servers. Underneath process engine, sample RATM workflow. Okay, so which ones does it show? Is it just the ones that are, is this putting a record, yeah, this looks like I've got more than 10 workflows. You can see from here, when I say, show all my published workflows is true, how many are there? Where's my list counter? At the bottom, maybe? Look how many workflows there are, assuming they're all published. Yeah, publish is true. True. Lots of workflows, so it is filtering on that table. I thought that must have changed at some point, because I swear I've looked in there and said, you can't put a request item workflow in a workflow? Someone check my sanity if that's ever been that way. I could just be getting old. Remote file import error post London upgrade. Let's find out what we have. I'd previously successfully tested Jakarta release, remote file import pulling the user data in JSON and CSV format loaded into our commit server, but post upgrade to London patch 5, I'm no longer able to pull the file. I get the error. Note, while both JSON and CSV format of our user file is failing, I'm able to successfully pull other CSV files stored on the same mid server using the same remote importer. Sounds like something may have happened with the file format. Caused in error probe var There's a big line in here. That is a log file message that is very hard to read unformatted like that. Wow, that thing just goes on, and then you have a stack trace. Lovely. Okay. Something changed other than the release. Remote file import pulling user, but post London upgrade patch 5. Where is the remote file import error coming from? See, I don't know that we support remote file import. Is the remote file import something you wrote or something configured as part of the platform? I thought there was something on like ServiceNow Guru that did this. I recall seeing something similar on ServiceNowGuru.com. If it is an update set that you installed, a third party wrote that you installed, I recommend reaching out to them to ensure they have support for London. If it is something configured as part of the platform, and I got to start out with something else rather than just throw them across the fence. The error message you gave is rather tough to read in that format. Looks like a script is not happy. Based on the fact that some files work and some don't, I would focus on the file format, location, etc. in the data stream. And here's my question. If it's something that's configured in the platform like a data source, then customer support can help. If nobody here has any suggestions, give them some sort of path. And since I responded, I will be part of that discussion should anybody come up with any other ideas, and then I can learn. That's half the fun of this community. While discovering Linux machines hosted with Docker Xenos image, getting same IP address. I don't know too much about Docker. I know what it is. Adding domain filters in database views, XenApp entry point as URL in service mapping. Lots of ITOM questions this morning. Dashboard is not visible to end users in London. That sounds like an accessible thing. Recently, we've upgraded our instance from Jakarta to London. We have a dashboard which is shared to the public and visible to all end users. After London upgrade, the end users were not able to access the dashboard. The below message is shown. The tasks for my group's list dashboard has not been shared with you. Okay, have you gone to the dashboards? Dashboards. No T on the end of that. And go to dashboards and check who it's accessible by. Self-service dashboards. Shared with me all. When you get that, you can pull that up and say, maybe I want usage by web API to be available to use this little gizmo over here to do the configuration on it. Let's see, that configures. No, I'm sorry, it's the other one. This gizmo, sharing, and you can define who gets everything. So let me grab a screen share of that. Grab that. Have you checked the sharing settings on the dashboard? It's not uncommon for new security features to be implemented as new releases come out. E.g., something may have no roles, restrictions on it in an early release, then have more security options to prevent security issues, lack of better things to say, in later releases. I went to self-service, dashboards, and found the dashboard and opened it. Check the sharing icon, top right, and see who has access. Yes, you get that little yellow quarter circle because when I do a screenshot, it likes to grab those things. Just because of this cursor widget that I've got so you can see better visibility. Normally, if I start shaking my cursor, the cursor gets real big, but it doesn't do that across the screen sharing app that I've got to Wirecast. So I added this doodad to help you see where I'm pointing my cursor. All right, quarter to the hour. What else do we have? Do another quick refresh. I do have, somebody had a question this morning. Let's go to the inbox real fast and clean that up. Then I will get to a more of a scripty topic. I'd survey link from survey emails. Oh, somebody responded. The author responded. Thank you for the response. Yes, I'll update and enhancement requests work on this. Yeah. That would be a highly, highly customized thing if you did get it to work at all. And then there's no guarantee because you're doing DOM manipulation that it'll work in the next release. Hi, Chuck. Again, when I click reprocess, email is identified as reply because in reply to header. Can you share the header? Can you share the header? It shouldn't be set for a new message, and ServiceNow should not be modifying the incoming message after it is reprocessed. It is processed the first time. So I don't know where that header is coming from. Seeing it in context might help if you can share without sharing too much, shall we say? I don't want to have them give away any confidential information. All right, something that came up this morning, I don't have, well, maybe I do have this. Let's go to activity history, community profile. I think I showed this to you a couple days ago. Underneath here is an activity tab. And the activity says, here's what you've been working on today. And just before the show started, I was looking at two things. One, I know I've said before on here. Short description is one that I wanted to look at. And crazy weird bug is another one. So let's look at short description. They said, when I'm trying to submit an incident by giving a space in the short description, it's accepted to submit. Because the short description is a mandatory field. If you look at the image they graciously shared with us, it is a mandatory field. You can see the asterisk over here. Oops, asterisk over here. But they're saying people are putting in just a space character, and that's considered valid. I said, well, then what you need to do is use the trim function. And that will take out any leading and trailing spaces. If the length of that trimmed string is then 0, you know you've got nothing. If it's greater than 0, you know you've got something decent, and you could use that. You could also pipe that back into the short description and say, okay, this is how I would do it in an on-submit client script. This was not tested, but I would do this by getting the value of the short description from gform, then trim that, sd.trim. Trim is a standard JavaScript function. You don't need to even be on ServiceNow to do this test. And then check the length of the trim field. I'm going to do this in a server-side script just to see what happens. The only difference would be it would be current or some glide record.get value on the short description, and then I can check this. So follow along with me. Let's get my handy-dandy Visual Studio text editor in here. I will also need a volunteer incident. The incident, we'll pick a record down here in the open section. Oh, we'll pick 0010011. My TV is on fire. That's a good short description, right? And, oh, again, it is mandatory. So we can see if we take everything out and save it, it says you can't do that. If I put a space in there, it says, ooh, maybe we are already doing that. They're doing that on a catalog item, though. Maybe this is something that is specific to catalog items. So it looks like our mandatory checker is better at it than the catalog item checker. Maintain item. Let's go make a simple... Was it a record producer that they had or a catalog item? That's crazy freaking bug. Trying to submit incident by giving space in short descriptions. That sounds like a record producer. Which would be under my record producers. I believe it's called Something is Broken. We can find that real easy by saying something %. Ooh. Not there. Record producers. What is it called? I'm trying to remember. I've seen it a million times. Report an issue? No, that's mine. All right, let's go to the catalog. Stupid demo. Self-service. Service catalog. Hey, why don't we just test it live? Can we help you? Report an issue. That's mine. Password enrollment request. Schedule an event. New hire. Password reset. Create incident. Too obvious, isn't it? And this just has the urgency and the full description, not the short description. So let's go ahead and right-click that and say Configure Item and add the short description in there. So here we are at our create incident record producer. We now know how to translate the description field on that. There's a big long script in here. And down in variables, we are going to add a new field, new variable. And one of the things I like about release, I think this came out sometime in the last 5 years, but it wasn't there when I was a kid. It's this map to field, and then you pick your field, short description. It used to be that your variable name had to be named the same as a field name, short underscore description, and if it was, it would auto map it. This makes it a little easier to pick that. So it will be a single line of text. We're going to make that mandatory. We'll put it in order, I don't know, 400? Sounds good? 200? 150. How about 150, right after the urgency? Or 0, put it right at the top. Okay? What would you like to say? Make a question out of it. And we don't need any annotation or anything special on that. Now, when we go to service catalog, can we help you? Near the bottom, create incident. What would you like to say is going to be space, 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 space. We'll fill in the others with medium and nothing here. Can we submit it? Hey, where did it all go? Oh, it was doing a lookup on the library. I'm not seeing that this is even an issue, at least not in Madrid. Okay, so FYI, I just did a test in Madrid, so your results may vary, and found that the form on the field on the form, the short description field on the form, on the incident form, and the short description variable on the record producer both are smart enough to automatically recognize one or more spaces and no text is not a valid entry. Spell recognize properly back here. That would help. Recognize. A script may not be necessary. What release are you on? On, and I can check the behavior of mandatory fields against that. Okay. Paste that, ring the bell, and let me show you where I was going with this. So I will get, sorry about the screen flipping. Where's my incidents? Incidents. Open. Leave. Hey, what happened to the other one? TV is on fire. Copy sysid. Get that. And var inc gr equals new glide record. Incident table. We can all type that in our sleep by now, I'm sure. Inc gr.get. Paste that in. We now have a record. And short description equals inc gr. If you've been following along, you know that I'm not just going to do dot short description. Get value, get value, get value. To get the value of that short description. Now, let's say, for example, you know what, we can try this even without that. Get rid of that. Var short description. This way you can play with it at home. Equals space. Start out with just a raw space. Then we can say var sd equals short description dot trim if sd.length equals 0. We'll do gs.info, hey, why not provide a short description? terabang. Otherwise, we can do an else and say gs.info, thank you for the short description. Done. Let's test that out in scripts background, shall we? Scripts background, that's the script debugger. I hit the wrong shortcut. Where's my scripts background? There it is. Paste, run, and it says, hey, why not provide a short description? We'll go back and put in a whole bunch of spaces, maybe even a tab or three. Oh, tab's not going to work in there. Oh, we could do tab like this. All right, and it trims those up and says, you still haven't provided us a short description. If we put some real text in there, real text, it will then say, thank you for the short description. It's trimmed off everything on the front. It also trims off everything on the back. So if you really wanted to do this, you could say gs.info, st equals plus sd, just to see what it was. It says, I have trimmed this all up. Did I have a space in there? I mean, a dot? Yes, I did. So notice that these spaces, make that a little bigger for you so you can see it up close at home. These spaces at the end are trimmed off. So it's going you out, but it does not trim the spaces between the real text and the period and all that stuff. So this is the real text. Trim just takes things on the ends, white spaces on the ends, and takes them off. So there is my first script of the day. We'll save that off to the 226 folder. Make a new folder, 2019-02-26. Just some fun to play with for that. We got a few more minutes to talk about trim.js. Save that, and it makes it nice and colory once it's saved. I like Visual Studio Code. The other thing I wanted to quickly get that back down to 150 is this crazy weird freaking bug. And if you've watched this video before, you know what the answer is to this. I just told you they were going through and doing one of my favorites, a push into an array. So they're doing a glide record query on sysuser member. They want to get the records where the name of the group is specialist, then they go and get the users. They were doing a next, nothing fancy there, but you know where the problem is. When you dot walk, they said, hey, how come I come up with this list? The array is all of these same sysids. Okay, they're all the same as the last one. We talked about this last week, so freebie for you. The way to fix this is you do a get value up here. Because, and people told him how to fix it real fast, but he said, I want to know what the underlying reason is. And the underlying reason was explained eventually in the correct answer. It says, edit the following screenshot provides more information. Now the query returns 3 records and only the last iteration of the loop is shared with the array. Okay, that's because you're doing a GS info inside of this and it's not referring to the value of the pointer. Okay. This happens because when you make a push assignment to the array, you're making it by reference and not by value. I'm glad someone caught on and shared the good news. Okay, there is a Stack Overflow reference to this article. I have not looked at it. Might be handy to see how well it goes. This is a very nice article. Okay, for doing this, lots of good answers. Yes. Okay, there's the text. The text, 577 likes on that one. Very nice. And the appropriate way is to use get value. They did also put in a .toString and a .sysid. I said, no, you don't want to do a .sysid. And you know why? Because it says so in the technical best practices. So he says, here's my solution, doing a user.sysid. When you dot walk, it is telling the system, go get the record this refers to, because I want some information about that. It is a very useful feature for getting current.caller ID, .department head. You can get that whole record down the chain very easily. You don't need to do this rolling glide record query of a reference field of a reference field of a reference field to get that information. It does it automatically by this concept we call dot walking. This is a complete waste because you are retrieving the entire user record to get the sysid. Well, user is already a sysid. So you're saying, hey, database, go retrieve a record, and I'm going to throw away everything but the sysid, which I already had. Okay, there's no point. You're just wasting the database time at that point. And if you have a lot of these that run in succession, you are now costing some time. It may be trivial at first, but when you run it over thousands of users, over thousands of hours, over thousands of records, maybe on an import set that you didn't know you were running business rules that runs this thing over and over and over again, and you go, why is my import taking forever? It's because of things like that. So I had responded back and said, look, this is what we talked about last week. You can do incident caller.sysid. This is bad because it does that second implicit database call. You could do a toString. It works, but nah. Same thing with plus empty string. Here is the best way to do get value caller ID. And also, as a lot of people have pointed out, if you're doing dot walking, you can't do it get value, which is one of the few times I will use a toString. There is also my thrown in for a bonus that get value of a sysid on the record is the same as doing a get unique value, which we talked about last week. So if you've been hanging around, if you're regular to this show, thank you very much. You recognize some of this stuff, never hurts to bear repeating. And if you're new, then God bless you, go reference this article. I will put that in the show notes as well. So the notes will be included. The articles that we talked about will be in the description of this YouTube video. Links to that will be live from the community article with this video to the articles that we talked about. How is that for helpful? So again, if you found something helpful in here, click the like button or the helpful link in the community. That's going to do it for today. With any luck, I will not be staying up late tonight and not have a hangover or anything that will preclude me from doing this show tomorrow morning. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, do what it says on this closing screen. Learn something, share it, and be helpful. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.